Two universal truths of coaching. Number one is that everyone has great potential. Absolutely everyone. And everyone has, I'd extend that out, that everyone has great potential in every area. Right? In every area. Everyone could be a much better athlete, a much better father, a much better daughter, a much better, whatever it is, right? We can all be a hell of a lot better. Everyone has great potential in every area. No one's reached it yet. Okay, and that is the work of a coach. Okay, to make up the ground, the difference between the potential and the actuality. Right, what's the reality a person is actually demonstrating to you? There's a huge gap between the two for most of us. Right, most of us aren't going even a tenth of the journey beyond into our potential at the moment. Right, even a tenth of it. Right, so imagine for yourselves, like, forget your clients for a minute. Imagine that as a husband, a wife, a father, a daughter, whatever it is. Imagine in any area of your life that you can think of, if you could suddenly boost your performance by 50, 60, 70, 80, 100%, right? Imagine the difference, right, in how you act as a part, how you act to yourself first off, right? In terms of your own health and wellness. But imagine, guys, if you could actually bring yourself to the point where any area of your life you could pretty much improve it by anywhere between 50 and 100%. Right? I'm going to tell you, like, without any form of bullshit or any form of hype at all, that's completely possible as a result of using this. And we're not talking about months and years, we're talking about in days and weeks. Okay? Because once you actually understand what's going on behind the blockages, you can actually eradicate them very, very quickly, or at least the client can, but with your help. So, the core fallacies around coaching and mindset. Okay, core fallacy number one. Your clients are struggling because they aren't thinking positively. Right? Get that one out of your mind straight away, right? You accomplishing things or not accomplishing them has got nothing to do with your ability to think positively or not. Okay? Does thinking positive help? Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't guarantee that you'll get the thing done. It doesn't guarantee that you'll have the result come to fruition. It doesn't guarantee that you'll have the experience you want. Okay? You can think, one of the examples, who's read my book, The Magic 100? Right, in The Magic 100, I give the example, right? You just walk out onto the highway and you sit there with a big smile on your face and you go, I won't get hit, I won't get hit, I won't get hit. Right? The likelihood of being hit is really, really high, right? Positive thinking isn't really worth anything without the positive action that is associated with it. Okay? Positive thinking is not worth anything without the positive action that's associated with it. And so, our question now becomes, why are they not taking the positive action? Because if they can get themselves to sit there and smile and say all the words, why can't they take the commensurate action? Okay, we'll learn about that in the brain science section in a second. But that's a massive fallacy. Okay, they're struggling because they're weak-willed. Okay, this is a really damaging story, by the way. So is the last one. Actually, all these stories are quite damaging to the client. Telling a client that they need to think more positively is the same as walking up to the client and actually saying, because what they really hear when you say, we just need to work on a bit more positive thinking, is, you're really negative, right? You're a really negative person. That's what they hear, that's a judgment they hear. When we start kind of talking about willpower, the client needs strong willpower, we need to work on that. What message are they hearing about themselves? You are weak-willed, right? You have no willpower. Right? These are negative and very damaging judgments that we make around coaching. It's also very disempowering because the client actually believes that there is something wrong with them, right? They struggle because they don't want it bad enough, whatever it is. You just don't want it bad enough. If you really wanted it, you'd do it. It's not that simple. Right? How many of you guys want $1 million? Right? How many of you guys want to move to that house on the hill or have all those? You haven't got it yet. I'm sure that all you guys aren't sitting around on your arse with thumb up bum doing nothing about it. You're working hard, right? So there's a whole bunch of things that you want, but they're not happening for you. There are reasons why that's the case. We'll speak about that shortly. Okay? You just need to man the fuck up and just do it, right? That's the other side. You hear this all the time, right? And you read it, like Facebook post after Facebook post. Just man the fuck up, just do it. Right? Well, it doesn't really make sense, right? Just do it doesn't really make sense in itself, right? It doesn't make sense. Get up, start running as hard as you can, just work hard and you'll get there, right? But what if I'm running in the wrong direction? What if the place I'm trying to get to is over here and I just get up and I just do it? It makes no sense, right? The idea that people need to man the fuck up makes no sense. Not everyone out there is a wimp. Some people are a bit wimpy, right? But we need to actually understand why that's the case. Like, what is it that's causing them to act and behave in that way? Well, ultimately, it's because they're fearful of something. And you can't just say to a person, don't be fearful. Any of you have got kids, you've tried that with your kids, right? Big spider, or jump off this, or whatever it is, don't be scared of it. Yeah, that works, right? It doesn't work. There's a reason for the fear. And a big part of the work we're going to do is actually to understand the neuromechanics of fear. They struggle because they self-sabotage. Right? How many of you think you've got clients that self-sabotage? How many of you thought you've had clients that self-sabotage? Because no one wants to admit that one now, do they? Right. Self-sabotage actually doesn't exist at all. Right? No matter what you think, self-sabotage doesn't exist. A person is basically taking an action based upon their safety and their threat level. Right? What seems to you that they are sabotaging the goal is actually a way of them saying, I'm maintaining certainty in this area of my life. I'm uncertain over here, so that's a huge threat, but over here, if I just keep eating those donuts and doing these things, there's an element of certainty surrounding them. We'll speak about that in a lot of depth, right? Self-sabotage doesn't exist. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you all this is because hopefully, as we get further into this, it will start to allow you to have more compassion for people. Okay, start to remove your judgment, because the one thing a truly great, truly world-class coach can't be is judgmental. You can't look at the person in front of you and be running a script in the back of your mind going, they just need to know. Right? I know she's self-sabotaging, but you sit there with a smile. Okay, yeah, we'll just see how you do this, Mark. Right? That doesn't work. You actually have to be on the client's team. Completely on the client's team. Most coaches aren't. They separate themselves. Okay? Okay, so, yeah, during this program, you're going to learn why all of those are fallacies, what you can do to counter them, and it's damn simple, like all of it. So here's the thing. By the end of this weekend, just sitting here in a room with the people around you, with your peers, you're going to see and hear things that you're going to gain access to information faster than you've ever gained it before, because we're going to be using the techniques and the science, right? You guys are all aware of this, right? The kind of the distinct disadvantages in medical science at the moment, right? It's all very separatist, right? So we've got people who study kind of endocrinology, they don't really study much about psychology, and people who study psychology don't understand biomechanics. The guys in biomechanics don't really understand nutrition, right? So there aren't many people out there with a big paintbrush kind of painting the full picture about how one relates to another, right? So, and I'm not a research scientist, there's a couple of things that I'm really, really good at. I'm really good at collating other people's stuff, pulling it into a central story, and then making better stories out of it, right? Essentially, I'm a storyteller, that's what I do, right? It just so happens, though, that these stories are ones that have brought about changing people. So, examples of the clients that I've worked with and continue to work with to this day, like people that have been victims of like major assaults and child abuse and rape and kind of all manner of like really nasty things, right? And through therapy, through psychotherapy, through psychoanalysis, through drugs, have not been able to actually address these things. And sometimes in as short as like 1 or 2 sessions of just sitting down going through what we're going to talk about this weekend, their lives have been changed, right? So, but the flip side of that, and to continue to answer that, is don't believe a word out of my mouth this weekend. Right? Don't just believe it. Like, I don't want anyone sitting there saying, well, Dak said this, so therefore that's true, right? Don't believe a word out of my mouth. Just accept it that it might be a truth right now. Play about with the tools that I give you over the course of the weekend, and then compare that to the tools that you're already using. If it's essentially, it's a bit like Jeet Kune Do, right? Kind of, you accept, you take on everything that works and discard everything that's useless. Do exactly the same with this, right? So, but the main thing here, though, is that you need to keep an open mind about the material and just engage with it, and then you'll soon see that it works.